As far as the National League is concerned, it's been poor. It really has. I mean, San Diego's look really good. They're 10-2, and I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think Machado
should progress a little. The question is how much will they progress?
They'll progress a lot better because San Francisco is not going to be any good.
San Francisco isn't, but you still got the Dodgers who are even better, and you got the Diamondbacks who are still very good. They had a nice offseason quietly, so we'll see how they can progress.
Why did they have a nice season? Because they added, what's his name again? The pitcher?
They added pitching and hitting help. Cole Calhoun's a nice piece to that lineup.
Calhoun.
Yeah, you still got.
They added Madison Bumgarner. That's it. That's all they added.
But they were able to keep Robbie Ray for now, at least.
He'll be gone before the season's end.
They still have talent where I think it's more ready to win in this current state. The Padres are still very young all at once, so that's why I'm saying it's still one of those teams that is, I think, more built to win. Now, the Padres, if they have a leap like the Braves did a couple of years ago with their young team, maybe. But again, it's still going to be very hard with those two teams in there. The Diamondbacks still have talent. It's kind of like what the Twins were last year. It was a lot of new pieces, a lot of unknowns, and obviously the Twins made the playoffs. But they have a lot of good guys on this roster too throughout the lineup, which was very small last year.
You're looking at a roster. That doesn't mean that roster is going to end up that roster. There's going to be injuries this year, Speedy, and no matter what you put on a piece of paper, just like the New York Yankees, you have to find the diamonds in the rough that are not on the roster right now that you're going to bring up from spring training or even the farm system or the minor leagues, or even make a trade for a player like the Yankees done over the last couple of years. And we all know what the Yankees have done. They brought in DJ LeMahieu. Everybody thought, well, who the hell is DJ LeMahieu? He almost won the batting title this year with the New York Yankees. The team that I've been very impressed with throughout spring training is the Chicago White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And Chicago is a team that has been rebuilding for the last 3 or 4 years. They have 3 of the top 7 prospects coming up this year. And what I've seen with Chicago so far in spring training is they got pitching, they got bullpen, they got hitting, they got defense.
They brought back Abreu too, which will help for veteran leadership.
They have everything they need right now, especially in the division they're in right now. And it's not a good division. It's one of the worst divisions in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They have a chance to surprise a lot of people and squeak right into the playoffs, especially how bad the Red Sox are going to probably be this year. And I do believe the Red Sox will trade Martinez one way or another sometime this year. JD Martinez will be traded, especially if he starts the season strong and hot. I could see them moving him very, very quick, maybe even before the trade deadline, moving JD Martinez, because they can get more early when they know he's hitting, how bad the lineup is possibly. I mean, they have Ralph Devers, who's going to be good. I mean, they have some good young prospects and young players. They have that first baseman that they're going to probably call.
Yeah.
They're going to call up this year, and you're going to see a lot of him. And you're going to get to see some of the young players that the Red Sox have been producing, or the light production that they've been producing in their farm system.
Right, and the other risk you run with the Red Sox is if they do get caught in the sign stealing scandal, will anything happen to them during the season? Right now, allegedly, according to what Rob Manfred said, the players are immune, but that doesn't mean that can't change if they find evidence against the Red Sox too.
They're going to find evidence,
if that's the case, that's really going to drop the value of somebody like JD Martinez.
The Red Sox are not going to be a good team this year, and I don't care what Red Sox fans are going to say. And Jeff, you can call the show all you want. You're not going to change my mind on where the Red Sox are and where they're going to be for the next 2 or 3 years. They have no farm system whatsoever. They don't. Mm-hmm. They have no pitching in their farm system, and they're trading away pitchers right now. They traded away David Price because of the contract. They still have Chris Sales. That's a contract you're not going to get rid of, and I think it was a bad contract. I do. I believe it was a bad contract because I don't think Chris Sale will be the same pitcher we saw over the last couple of years because of his throwing rotation, his arm curve.
And being very velocity reliant. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be the same pitcher. And who do they have right now on that pitch? Parcello's no longer with the Red Sox. He's with the Mets, right?
Yeah. Eduardo Rodriguez, I think, is there too. He had a decent year, but that was really it. And he's always hurt, so it's something that you can't trust with him either.
So you know the Red Sox aren't going to be good this year. So there are teams that could squeak. You know who I think is going to be really – they're not going to be a surprise because they're good every single year and they're always on the borderline, but they get knocked out.
Oakland.
They're always a team that gets knocked out by the Yankees.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins, two teams that I think could make a run this year into the playoffs and maybe even go to the World Series.
The Athletics are also – it'll be interesting because they're always hit by not being able to do well in the one-game playoff either. But now with the Astros potentially having players getting suspended throughout the year too and everything going on with them, that could be their division where they could even get a series, and that'll be interesting to see if they could play a longer series because they have a good bullpen and a very good lineup. So that'll be very interesting to see. But also, again, I wouldn't count out teams like the Angels or the Rangers either. They improved a lot. The Angels improved a lot in the offseason. So it's not going to be easy for them either.
I think the Angels are a bust team. I just think they're a team.
I think they could be too because everyone loves these kinds of teams
Joe
in the
Maddon
offseason.
and Mike Trout, and they have what the Asian kid coming up, Ohtani coming back, and he's going to be able to hit now. I mean, they have all these players, and they made some moves in the offseason that made the team better. Pitching, they added some bullpen help in the offseason, and they're a better team than they were last year.
Right. No, you're right, and I think everyone seems to be that glamour team, and they'll be more pressure on it as a result.
I think the glamour team to watch is the Chicago White Sox. Mm-hmm. I think that's the team to watch this year. I think they're the Cleveland Indians over the last 5-6 years with Terry Francona. I think they have a good manager. I think they have a very good team, and they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of depth, and they have a great farm system. All those years of making trades and trading away talent, they finally built their farm system like the Yankees did, like over the years the Tampa Bay Rays have done, the LA Dodgers have done. And when you build a farm system all those years and you stockpile talent, eventually you can use that talent to trade for a big superstar that's going to be available. Right. Or you take that talent and use them when you have injuries. Mm-hmm. And you see what's going on with the Yankees right now. And thank God the Yankees have a slew of young players that they can bring up. Jordan Montgomery coming back. He looked good after taking over for Garrett Cole today. He made some mistakes, but I like what I see with Jordan Montgomery. You have the kid Darcy Garcia, who's another guy that a lot of people are preaching really big praise and high praise for this kid. The Yankees have a farm system. The Braves over the years. Look what the Braves have done over the years. Building a farm system where when they have problems with injuries, they can bring one of these guys up and they're going to produce. They're going to give you an extra 15, 16, 17 home runs. They have a ton of
pitching depth in that farm system.
So, and that's why they're going to use that pitching depth to possibly make, I said depth, but depth, it is depth because they can do whatever they want with that pitching depth in their farm system to add a big-time bat. And they added Donaldson in the offseason, which is a good enough bat right now in that lineup with the players that they have right now.
Well, no, they lost Donaldson. They added Ozuna.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ozuna.
The Twins added Donaldson. That'll make them even more potent than they already are.
When I look at these teams in the offseason and really in spring training, the teams that I would watch out for are the Blue Jays because they're in the American League East. And they have a good roster of hitters. They have a good farm system. They also have a slew of pitchers in their farm system. Tampa Bay, which we all know, Tampa Bay is going to be a team to beat in the American League East. Chicago, we're just talking about Chicago White Sox. They're a team. The teams to look in the offseason and really look forward going into this season that I think are going to really take 2 steps back. One, the Chicago Cubs.
I could see that, yeah.
I mean, not bringing back Joe Maddon, not going after Joe Girardi, which was surprising. They did not go after Joe Girardi. I thought Joe Girardi was a shoo-in if they weren't bringing Joe Maddon back. Mm-hmm. I thought Joe Maddon was going to retire. He ended up going to the Angels. So it wasn't really the situation with the Cubs where Theo Epstein and Joe Maddon weren't getting along. That's pretty much what we're seeing right now because he would have they've got the money. They would have still brought Joe Maddon back, especially when he won 2-3 years ago. He won a World Series. Mm-hmm. Another team that you have to look at that might take a step back this year, and I will say this over and over again, and they're a team that everybody thinks is going to be a team to beat, is the LA Dodgers.
Ooh, there's an interesting take.
And I'll tell you why I think the Dodgers, and it's not because of talent. It's
Pressure.
not because of that's one of the reasons. It's coaching. And this is a team over the years, and everybody knows this. No matter how much talent you have, if you don't have a good, reliable manager in a big game, you're going to lose. And we've seen this over and over and over again with Peterson. This is a guy that has been in the World Series 2 times out of the last 3 years.
Dave Roberts, I'm
sorry. Well, there you go. You were thinking for the name, but say Peterson. I always mess up his name, too. I'm very bad with names, but Dave Roberts has been not a good playoff coach, not a good
especially
playoff
later
manager.
in playoffs like NLCS and World Series. He's really been bad.
And I look at right now, when you look at the Dodgers as a whole, yes, they have a lot of depth offensively. And they brought in Mookie Betts, where everybody says, wow, this is the team to beat now. It's the Yankees and the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series this year.
So you can see an instance where the Dodgers maybe have this great regular season and then steam out in the postseason like the Lightning did, something like that?
I could see them might not even make the playoffs.
Really?
Yes.
That's a bit of a stretch.
Why is it a bit of a stretch?
That team is loaded.
So what? We've seen teams loaded over the years that didn't make the playoffs.
That loaded, though? I can't imagine them missing the playoffs completely. I could see where you're saying where they could steam out in the playoffs just with the pressure.
All right, so let's say they make it in as a wild card. I don't think they're winning the division this year.
So
I don't.
You trust the Padres, a very young Padres team, to win the division with a fresh new manager?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I think that Cindy. I think don't count out the Padres this year. I know a lot of people don't like this take, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a team that has as good a farm system right now than any team in baseball. As a matter of fact, they have the #1 farm system in baseball, the Padres. And they're bringing up players as we speak. They have one of the best young catchers in baseball that is going to start the season as the starting catcher. They have a great outfield, great defensively, good offense. And they added Manny Machado. They added some pieces in the offseason. They added some pitching in the offseason as well. But and baseball is very unique because just because they had what did they have? 75, 77 wins last year. And they only had 5 more wins with Manny Machado than without him. Mm-hmm. I think they can take a huge jump this year and win 95 games. I really do. 95 games. Go look at the pitching staff. What's their pitching staff?
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out which pitchers are actually starters. Zach Davies is one. Chris Paddock, who they had last year, who was very good. Quantrill's a really good prospect. And then they got Mackenzie Gore, who's, I think, the #2 prospect in all of baseball, and #3, who should be coming up soon. He was pretty much untradeable at the trade deadline. So it's going to be interesting what they end up doing. I'm just surprised you think all at once they could just somehow top the Dodgers, which have...
Why not?
They have a good mixture of everything. There's really not a weakness on that team. Really, you're right, besides the manager. But again, Dave Roberts hasn't really had trouble in the regular season.
You'd be surprised what happens when it comes to injuries. And you see with the Yankees with 33 injuries.
But I think they're built for that with the depth that they have. They have a lot of depth on that team. The only thing they've lost is Maeda and
Ryu.
And Ryu. But again, Ryu's
2 pitchers that are very significant.
Ryu's also...
And you added David Price.
That's understandable, but Ryu's been hurt so much that they've been used to surviving without him.
Ryu was one of the best pitchers in baseball last year.
Right. But again, he's also been up and down throughout his career, and he's been hurt a lot where they know how to manage without him. They brought back Alex Wood, who's been one of those pieces with him.
He looked terrible last year.
No, I know that, but he's another one that's kind of like Ryu where he's on and off, and he's been with the Dodgers a lot, so they're used to that. They bring in Jimmy Nelson, who's a nice depth piece, and again, whatever you can get out of David Price, we'll see. But I think they're so used to they are so used to him being injured that I don't think that's really an issue. The question will be more with the hitters. But again, they have so much depth where I don't think that's really an issue. They survived not having Seager. They survived not having their catchers for a while. When Bellinger was hurt, I think his second year in the league, they were able to make it through. They find ways with the depth.
And they traded Jock Peterson, which made no sense.
No, they didn't. No,
I thought they traded him.
No, the Angels turned away on that deal, so they still have Jock Peterson. I think they gave the Angels that other infielder.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they rescinded that last second. They kept the Maeda deal. That's why the trade took so long to process, even though it was told about. It was only processed, I think, 2 weeks later because of that. The Red Sox were supposed to get the relief pitcher. The Dodgers got the relief pitcher. And the Angels were supposed to get Jock Peterson, but they ended up getting the other outfielder instead, and I think a couple draft picks.